Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha Television. You're watching a brand new edition of The Big Picture with me, Frank Rausan Pereira. Pakistan's general election results have been delayed as early trends showed Imran Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf inching towards majority on Thursday morning. While opponents have alleged blatant rigging of the election, the Chief Election Commissioner attributed the delay to a new system, a results transmission system introduced by it. According to Geo News, Imran Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf was leading on 119 seats, followed by ousted Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's PMLN on 65. Bilawal Bhutto Zardari's Pakistan People's Party was leading on 44 National Assembly seats. In the directly contested 272 seats in Pakistan's parliament, 137 is the halfway mark for a simple majority. Voting was marred by reports of violence and a deadly suicide blast near Quetta that killed over 35 people and left 67 injured. Meanwhile, the Election Commission of Pakistan has sent a notice to PTI Chairman Imran Khan for voting in full public view and in front of the cameras, a violation of the Code of Conduct. On this edition of The Big Picture, we will analyze what the election in Pakistan means for India and the world. Joining me on the program today are Vivek Katju, former ambassador, Sajjad Pirzada, senior journalist, Rana Banerji, former Special Secretary, Cabinet Secretariat, and Major General Dhruv Katoch, retired Director, India Foundation. Thank you to all my guests for joining me on this edition of The Big Picture. Let me first go across to my guests from our neighbouring country and find out what's exactly happening there. Over to Sajjad Pirzada for the latest. Sajjad.
Yes, we can see establishment floating clearly behind the Imran Khan. Transparency is still dream in the land of Khan will rule Islamabad now.
Well, we seem to have a technical difficulty with the line there. We'll try and reconnect with our guest from Pakistan and see what he has to say. But before that, let me go across to my panelists here in the studio. Mr. Banerji, how would you look at the election in Pakistan?
Well, in the internal context, it is perhaps a good election result, something that would ideally suit the army because of the conditions which they created before the elections. They would be having an amenable civilian politician who would be conscious of the debt that he owes both to the army and to the judiciary. And his mandate, of course, has perhaps exceeded the expectation that the army may have tailored for him. But to begin with, he will have a honeymoon period with the army. The civilian military dissonance that has been a characteristic of Pakistan's internal politics may abate for a while. And in the context of stability also, because he will have not only the center, he will be able to form a government in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, which has bucked the anti-incumbency, and maybe also in Punjab with the help of independents. And he has made a presence felt in Sindh as a major opposition party, not only in Karachi, which is really unprecedented, 12 out of 21 seats in Karachi, but in Punjab, he has been able to make a presence felt in northern Punjab and parts of central and southern Punjab, which is a formidable result.
You know, General, as far as Imran Khan's results, or the way Imran Khan has fared in these elections, contested on 5 seats, won all 5 of them. If you look at the chiefs of the 6 mainstream political parties, they've all bitten the dust in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and PTI has emerged victorious there as well. So, what are the factors that have led to the rise of Imran Khan? Is it just the military, or is it something else?
No, I think Imran Khan on his own would never have been able to get a result of this nature. The criticality was actually in Punjab, as my colleague has just said, and there is a strong possibility that he may win Punjab too. And winning Punjab from the Sharif brothers, from the PML, I think that constitutes a very major achievement. And to have broken that stranglehold, he could not have done it alone. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, I can understand. He's a Pathan, he's from that region, and he's a popular cricketer. I mean, he's an icon.
No, but his popularity is at an all-time high now.
Yes. Actually, he has been cashing in on that popularity for quite some time as the captain. You know, as the Pakistan cricket team won in 1992 in Australia, and that is the only time they won the World Cup, and he was the captain. And he played a very decisive role in that victory. So I don't think people have forgotten it. So in a sense, he's also a youth icon. And the youth, to a very large extent, have voted for him. I mean, everybody's looking for a messiah. Pakistan has been through very troubled time, through difficult times for quite some time now. And they are looking for a messiah. Everybody's, okay, he's the hope. So, well, they pinned the hopes on him. But as Mr. Banerji said just prior to this, you see, there will be something called the honeymoon period, a period of 1 year. And people may be prepared to give that much time to the leader, to the messiah. But the problems, unfortunately, don't go away unless you are really the messiah. And I don't think he is a messiah in that sense.
Right.
So I think we will wait and watch and see what happens in the days to come. But as per present trends, obviously, I mean, he will form the government in Pakistan, and there is a very fair or a very high degree of probability that he will also form the government in Punjab. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, obviously, he will be forming the government.
Indeed. You know, Ambassador Katju, as far as the Sharif brothers are concerned, you know, we've heard the previous two panelists talking about how Imran Khan has fared well in the Punjab region as well, a stronghold really of the Sharif brothers. Where do they go from here?
They've suffered a major reverse, but this was to be expected because the army was dead against them. And the major point emerging from these elections is that the Pakistan army will simply not allow any politician to tread on territory which they think is their preserve. And that relates to a complete control of Pakistan's security and foreign policies. The differences that got heightened between the army and Nawaz Sharif was on account of Nawaz Sharif feeling that as he was the constitutionally elected Prime Minister, he had the right to have the last word in these areas too. And the army did not accept his orientations towards India, his India policy, nor did they accept what Nawaz was trying to do with Musharraf. So the lesson for Imran Khan is clear, that if he thinks that he can somehow participate in a decision making on foreign policy and security policies, he will find that the army will give him a very swift rebuke.
Right. You know, Mr. Banerji, I'm going to go back to what you said in your opening comment, talking about the honeymoon period. What's expected of Imran Khan during this honeymoon period, and is it going to be easy for him?
Well, with this type of a mandate, it is expected that he may try to rise from being a politician to a statesman. And the polity is very badly politicized and it remains to be seen whether he can make an appeal to the opposition politicians. Already the Sharifs and several other politicians have asked for an all-party conference to discuss the alleged rigging issue. Actually, it's a procedural problem, but that has affected the declaration of results. I don't see much of a rigging, particularly because the credibility of certain other results. In Punjab, the PMLN has given a very tough fight and a close fight. So if it was a rigged result, this would not have happened. Secondly, the religious parties who were mainstreamed, and they haven't really succeeded in winning even a single seat. So, and even the parties which did not have a terrorism link of the religious nature, even they haven't fared very well. So there are these silver linings which one can look at the results. But for Imran, the problems are immense. His major problem will be on the economic front. Pakistan is facing a very serious economic situation. The question of resources, mobilization of resources. He has talked in his 100-day program of taking certain hard decisions. Whether he will be able to do this, for that he'll have to reach out to the opposition, because he'll have a very strong opposition at the center and in the crucial province of Punjab. So whether he'll have the political acumen to do that is questionable. There will be a feeling of gloating among his cadres, and also the feeling of support from the powerful institutions that are behind him. So that may not be conducive for him to rise to the level of being a statesman and accommodating feelings of the opposition, which are strongly, perceived by them as issues that have to be dealt with. So it's going to be an uphill struggle.
General, what is the key takeaway for you from this election in Pakistan? Mr. Banerji said the fact that the religious parties haven't done too well is definitely a big takeaway. What's your takeaway?
The way I've looked at it for quite some time now is the election results in Pakistan are irrelevant. Right? Even if Nawaz Sharif's party had won, or by a miracle the Bhuttos had taken over, Zardari and his son, it really wouldn't have mattered. Because ultimately, the power and the control will rest with the Pakistan army. Now, having said that, like if you notice, even the last time when the elections were held, the Indian media especially went gaga over the fact that now one government has handed over power democratically to another, which signifies a very major shift. But the fundamentals had not changed. And even now, the fundamentals have not changed. So, the control will be exercised by the Pakistan military. I think the advantage here is that I see Imran Khan and his party as being, as what Mr. Banerji actually mentioned earlier, as being very obliged to the military. And I think that they will actually toe the line. And so long as this party toes the line, I do not see any major disturbances or any major friction coming between the PTI and the Pakistan military.
What is the army going to expect of Imran Khan?
I think they will expect that he does not interfere in three crucial issues. One is the business interests of Pakistan. Right? They've got a very strong economy, the military economy, so to say, going, and they don't want anybody to touch that. That is one. I think the second thing is in terms of foreign policy, how Pakistan deals with India, with China, and with the United States. That will be left to the discretion of the Pakistan military. And thirdly is the military budget. Now, that they will ensure that so long as there is no interference on these three key issues, I do not think that the military will be too averse to anything else Imran Khan does.
So you believe that the military is going to give him a free hand if he stays out of these three?
The military has always given the political parties a free hand, except for these three issues.
Yes.
The problem has only arisen when those political parties actually thought that they could do a bit more than that free hand. They wanted to actually get control over their security and political policies. And as and when they have tried it, Mr. Zardari tried it, he ran into trouble. Mr. Bhutto tried it, he ran into trouble. I think Mr. Imran Khan will be a bit more careful. I don't think he's going to try it. So if he does not try it, he will sail through his 5 years very comfortably, without problems with the military. But the Pakistani economic situation, that of course will require very delicate handling, regardless of whichever political party is in power. They have serious problems. And I think it requires much more than statesmanship to actually overcome those problems, because they have not been created over a day. They are systemic problems, and they cannot be rectified within a year or 2 years. I think if you have to rectify those problems, we are looking at a 5 to 10 year period. But those processes can start and they will be unpopular.
All right. Sajjad Pirzada now joins us on the phone line. He's no longer with us on Skype. Sajjad Pirzada, what are the factors do you believe that have influenced these elections in Pakistan?
We can see establishment floating clearly behind the Imran Khan. Transparency is still dream in the land of poor. Taliban will rule Islamabad now. Imran Khan is belong to a General Ziaul Mullah school of thoughts. But good thing is that the people of Pakistan have rejected the mullah like Hafiz Saeed. People like Hafiz Saeed doesn't want women to be anywhere near them.
Okay, so are you suggesting that it's a good thing that the religious parties have not done well in Pakistan in these elections?
Yes.
Okay, a point that you are making. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, yes. And if you are saying people are also saying that a PM backed by establishment is in Indian interest.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to take that point forward now.
That people.
Interesting point that you made there. Mr. Banerji, would you agree with that?
Partly yes, partly yes. But as I said in the beginning, there will be a honeymoon period between the army and Imran Khan in the beginning. This is a result which the army would be very happy about.
Can we cash in on that honeymoon period?
No, I'm afraid not, because again, they would not, the sort of honeymoon would not extend to letting Imran have a run in the foreign policy realm. That is one area which he himself will be hesitant to take on right in the beginning. His plate is already filled with much more complex issues. Why should he try to do this? And his views are not that friendly to India. He's been known to be anti-Indian in the past. It's, some papers in India, they have said, well, he's an unknown commodity. Certainly not an unknown commodity. He has vaguely talked about the need for peace and good relations, and on Kashmir, again, he has parroted a line very close to their official Pakistani position. And also recently he had given an interview to Hamid Mir, where he said that, as long as the Modi government is in power in India, there can be no possibility of any approaches for improvement of relations with India. So that is his professed line, which is very close to the army's position also. So he will only take a cue from the army about, defreezing of any relationship with us or ties when the army nods, gives him a nod, not otherwise. So we will really not be doing anything well by sort of reaching out to him.
General, what does it mean for India, Imran Khan's
I think when we're looking at
the election? Yeah.
When we're looking at the India-Pakistan relationship, I do not visualize any change at all, because that relationship is not dependent upon who is the political leader. That relation is dependent upon what the Pakistan army wants to be done. And there is no change in the Pakistan army stand. Regardless of who the Pakistan army chief is, that doesn't really matter, because I'm looking at the Pakistan army as an institution by itself, right? And institutionally, they have a line. So that really even doesn't depend upon who is made the chief of the Pakistan army. That institutional line has not changed, and it's not going to change. So when we are looking at the India-Pakistan
so there's a standard protocol, is what you're suggesting.
Yes,
it doesn't matter who heads the army, but
it doesn't matter also who heads the political establishment.
Yes.
Things as far as India and Pakistan are concerned, they are going to remain the same, right? You may you may like to believe otherwise. We may tend to fool ourselves to say, okay, now there is a possibility, but no. You see, unless the fundamentals change, and the fundamental really means the desire of the Pakistan military to say, yes, we want to change. I don't see that coming about, and if till such time as that comes about, I do not visualize any change in the India-Pakistan relationship.
Right. Sajjad, Pirzada, what's the mood on the ground there in Pakistan, really? What is the general public saying about all of this?
General public saying change is not just Imran Khan. Real change is Nawaz Sharif, what he has stood for liberalism, for friendship with India. No one else has in our country, our history.
Okay. All right. That's the mood as far as... yeah, go ahead.
Yes. And we can see that people who don't accept and the scientist Dr. Abdul Salam and Malala, that kills Kandils and Mashals, that kills women in the name of honor, that pushes minorities towards wall, that doesn't allow free speech and criticism, deserves Imran Khan as a Prime Minister.
Okay. Ambassador Katju also rejoins us on the program. Ambassador Katju, I was asking the other guests about what Imran Khan's performance in the election really means for India. Your thoughts on that?
It means nothing, for the simple reason that the India policy will not be in his hands. The India policy will be in the hands of the army, as it has always been. Now, in recent times, the army is sending signals that it wants the reopening of the comprehensive dialogue between the two countries. But at the same time, the Pakistan army is not willing to give up its practice of calibrating the use of terror against India. So as far as I can see, there is no change in Pakistan's position. And Imran Khan, if he tries to do what Nawaz Sharif did, seeking an opening with India, a genuine opening with India, then Imran Khan will not really succeed in this. One other point, please don't forget that as far as the Kashmir issue was concerned, Nawaz Sharif was not only as hard, but in my view, harder than the army. And yet, on matters like trade or normalization of ties with India, following, for example, the Chinese model, where the Chinese have been advising the Pakistanis that, look, you can have differences, but in areas that you can cooperate, you should cooperate. And if you recollect, during the election campaign, Nawaz Sharif pointed out to this in his interview to the Dawn newspaper. And you'll recall the army's very swift reaction to that interview of Nawaz Sharif. The Dawn newspaper had to suffer. So if you see the totality of things, Frank, I don't see any change as far as India is concerned. Yes, Imran Khan will do a lot of drama, but also remember that one of the slogans raised during Imran Khan's election rallies was, "Jo Modi ka yaar hai, gaddar hai." These were the slogans raised. So we should not have any hopes, any real hopes that things will suddenly turn and that Pakistan will turn and adopt a new policy towards India, a rational policy towards India. I don't see that.
All right, closing comments now from all my guests, starting with you first, Mr. Banerji, on, what's going to change then with Imran Khan at the helm?
Well, as I said, the youth in Pakistan have held a lot of expectations from him, at least regarding introducing what he himself tries to call as Naya Pakistan. So he may be less corrupt financially, at least to begin with. And then he might sincerely try to go in for some new ideas, such as that of having a separate urban corporation to deal with the local government problems in Karachi. Karachi has a very bad, civic amenities issue, and now having made such a significant inroad into Karachi, he will probably try to deliver on some of these issues. And if he tries to do so, at least, or is able to do so, he will be making a good start. And internal stability wise, I think this result is good for Pakistan.
All right, internal stability wise, this result is good for Pakistan, is what Mr. Banerji is suggesting. General, what does it mean for Pakistan's other neighbors, China, Iran and Afghanistan?
I think when we are looking at Pakistan's relations with these three neighbors, I don't visualize any change, especially their policy with China. That will remain consistent. What they both talk about as a very, very friendly relations. So there is going to be no change there. With Afghanistan, their core interests remain the same. So we will continue to have that conflict of relation, what the Afghan government is seeking and what Pakistan wants. Because what Pakistan wants is control over Afghanistan, right? And that the Afghans are not going to give it to them. As far as Iran is concerned, I think I don't visualize any changes with that policy between Iran itself, because fundamentally, I think one thing which I personally feel is going to happen is Pakistan is going to veer further towards radicalizing itself. It is already a radical society. I think what is going to happen, and with this radical society and being a Sunni Islamic radicalization, there will be a conflict with Iran on that particular score. But the way I see Pakistani society itself changing from a radical society, I have got very serious fears that it may actually progress towards a Talibanized society, and we may actually see within the next course of a few years, the government in Pakistan veering around to what the Taliban was in Afghanistan in the 90s. And I think that is going to be a very dangerous trend, not for India. We will still handle our problems. It is going to be a very dangerous trend for Pakistan itself, right? Now we are looking at competitive Islam And the more radical you get, the more competitive. That's the only way you can achieve results. As far as Imran Khan, we have of course mentioned that the people like Hafiz Saeed and all have been defeated, or their supporters. But that doesn't really matter. You see, these people are still going to be very serious trouble creators, and they are going to influence the policy. So we are looking at least I am looking at Pakistan society getting totally Talibanized, and that is going to be very bad for the people of Pakistan. For India, there will be no change per se.
All right. Talking about the Pakistan society, Sajjad Pirzada, what is it that the people of Pakistan will expect from Imran Khan in the days to come?
Justice Katju said well that Imran Khan is a drama. And but people of Pakistan have rejected terrorists like Hafiz Saeed.
Go ahead.
Are you listening me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yes. Cutting your voice.
Okay, I think there's some problem with the line there. We'll get a closing comment in from Ambassador Katju before I wind up the program. Ambassador Katju, the way forward really as far as Pakistan is concerned.
You know, it is not the people of Pakistan's rejecting Hafiz Saeed that really matters. It is if the army at some stage decides to reject groups like those of Hafiz Saeed. And that I don't see happening. Let us not forget that the people of Pakistan have always voted very, very sparingly for fundamentalist parties or religious parties. These parties have a nexus with the army. And Imran Khan too is being soft on this. He is becoming more and more conservative in his orientation. So I don't see that. I don't see much change there or much hope there. As far as change, this Naya Pakistan thing is concerned, Naya Pakistan will come when the Nazariya-e-Pakistan changes. And as long as the army safeguards the Nazariya-e-Pakistan, there can be, yes, some welfare measures, etc., but no fundamental change in Pakistan. Imran Khan is not a true revolutionary.
All right. On that note, then, we'll have to call it a wrap on this edition of The Big Picture. Thank you to all my guests for joining me on the program and putting things into perspective for us. That's it from me. See you again next time.